Good morning, everyone. Thank you for forging through the floods and getting here this morning. We so appreciate and love to see your shining faces here. Last week we had Reverend Scott speak, and I heard great things about it. Scott, I wish I could have listened to it. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to hear it, but I heard great things, and it was about the God within, which is what we talk about. This is what's important, the God within. So that's what we talked about last week. And this week, I want to talk about the faces of fear. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because I believe, this is me, I believe that there's only actually two energies in the world, love and fear. That's all there is. Everything can be broken down into those two things, love or fear. And fear shows up very differently. Sometimes it's hard to recognize it because it's not that bone-crushing, oh, if I take another step, I'm going to die kind of thing. It shows up so differently. It shows up as impatience. It shows up as doubt. It shows up as tiredness, putting things off. I'll get to that later. Why we're going to get to it later when you're thinking about it now? Because we're fearful. And so I want to talk to you about all the ways in which fear shows up, because the idea is for us to show up as love in everything that we do, and everyone that we speak with, and every thought that we have. And we have to be intentional about that, because our humanity will allow other thoughts to come in. And we want our God self to show up, that which we know is perfect, that which we know heals, that which we know connects us to each other and to our own selves, actually. And you're thinking about, or talking about the God within. This is important to know, because that means everywhere you go, there you are, and there God is. Everywhere. And everywhere everyone else is, God is. Everyone you're looking at. Even if they may or may not be showing up as your idea of God, it doesn't matter. If you know that you are looking at and speaking to God, it changes everything. And so that's just what I want to share with you today and talk about and be aware that if you are, and again, another reason why this is so important to me is because we are all individualized expressions, right, of the one love, which means we are here for our own journey. We're here for the things that other people, what you need to have happen, and the people that need to be drawn into your life for you to complete what it is your purpose is. And I believe that all of our purposes have to do with serving. We're serving one another, serving your life and the life of others. And you don't really know what that is until you just show up as you and your purpose in life. I believe that my purpose is to share this knowledge about what God is and what it looks like from a human space. This is why I tell you all my foibles, all my stories, because I'm showing up as a human being and God takes over. Go, what are you doing? That's not me. You're letting fear show up here. And so I try to tell you about this in stories, my own stories of not quite showing up the way God would like. And I shared a story with you about my neighbor. I have a new neighbor. And I think I shared the story. I shared the story about leaving a note on somebody else's car who had parked in the sidewalk. Did I share the story about the neighbor leaving a note on my sister's car? Okay. So I had a medical emergency a couple weeks ago, and my whole family showed up at the hospital, and my sister brought me home and parked in the neighbor's driveway. Well, the neighbor has a double driveway, and she parked in front of the broken down car that he's been having sitting there for about a year. So it's not like she blocked his way. He was able to get in. And she did that because she didn't want me to have to walk far. She parked right next to my door, and then decided she didn't want to leave me alone. So she spent the night, and her car was there. So he left a note on her car saying, if you park here again, I'm going to have your car towed. Yeah. And I just thought, that's not very neighborly. You don't even know what was on. So in my human mind, I had a huge conversation with the guy. Not a godlike conversation. Fortunately, I didn't actually speak it out loud. I just said it in my head. And then I just thought, what are you doing? You're not going to do anything. You're not leaving any notes. You're not calling the city to have this car towed. You're not doing any of that, because that's not how love shows up. You're not doing that. Just calm down and let it go. I said, yeah, okay, yes, you're right. I'm just going to let it go. He's new in the neighborhood. He doesn't know what neighbors do. It's okay. So yesterday, his son knocked on my door. He's a teen, I think, or maybe a preteen. Maybe he's tall, so he may be 12, 11, 12, 13, something like that. And he asked to use my phone. And I actually didn't recognize him because I hadn't seen him away from his father. So I didn't recognize him, and he asked if he could use my phone. So there's a kid showing up at my door saying, can he have my phone? And I said, what are you doing? He said, I need to call my dad. I said, okay. So I'll call him. I'll call him for you. So I said, what's your dad's number and name? So I called the father, and I said, hey, yeah, this is Pjae, your neighbor, and your son is here, and he's concerned because apparently he's supposed to be going somewhere, and it's getting closer to the time for you to pick him up. So the father didn't call, but I'm leaving a message. And I said, and so could you please call me back? And I said, if you need me to, if it's not too far, I can take him, not a problem. And I hung up. And then I told him, I said, I will keep calling your dad like every 5 minutes and let you know, whether he calls back or leaves a message. So the father finally called back, and I told him what was going on. I said, hey, your son is concerned. And I said, are you going to take him, or do you need me to take him? And he said, oh, no, I'm almost at the house. He said, thank you so much, I'm almost at the house. I said, okay, well, he still wants to talk to you. So I gave the son the phone, and the son talked with his dad, and he handed his phone back. And that was that. But then later, the father sent me a message, and he said, thank you so much for taking care of my son. And I said, oh, yeah, you're welcome. We're neighbors. That was the message I wanted him to get all along, that this is what neighbors do. But I actually got to be a neighbor, right? And I actually got to show the love. So when I waited, when Spirit said, don't be doing that, don't go back and do your human stuff, just knock it off. It'll be all right. And then I got a chance to show him what I was going to say, what I wanted him to know, that this is how this neighborhood is. And you're in a whole place where we'll take care of you. We'll take care of your son, we'll take care of you, you don't have to worry about it. But that was shown in that place. So my point back to that is this. Why did I want to get back at him at the beginning? Everything is love or fear. What was the fear for me? Fear that he was taking advantage of me, that he was treating me badly, that he was talking about my sister, all kinds of nonsense. And it's just egoic fear that someone is thinking you're less than they are, that they know more than you do. That's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And when I came back to my true self and let love show up, I just, keep quiet. Let Spirit handle this in a way I never would have thought. I never would have known. But now he knows what a neighbor does, or certainly what this neighborhood does. And that's what we get to do, yeah? And I love that. So again, the point I'm making this morning is that we let love deliberately, intentionally show up as love. And if your human side, the fear, the doubt, all of that shows up, it's okay because we're human. Let it show up, but just don't let it guide you. Don't move from that place. Let that slip out. Just let it go ahead in your head and all that kind of stuff, but don't take action on it. And wait. And know for fact that love is going to show up. It has to. It has to. If you're deliberate about that and you know that God is within, not only you, but them as well. And so you get to be the first to love. That's one of the things we talked about. If we know this, then we need to be the first to love because we already know. And we can show up everywhere as love. And so I want to share one more story because stories really make the point. So, oh yeah. What's the story I want to tell you? So you guys know that last weekend, for the last 10 years, I have been going to Thailand to visit my friend Obi and all other friends, and we would have I'd be there for like a week or two, and we would have parties, and we'd raise money for the kids over there. Well, we're no longer doing that because Phuket has changed a lot, and it isn't what we wanted to be around. And so we decided to do it. It wasn't a fundraiser. It was because it was my friend's birthday, his 80th birthday, and we decided to all meet up at Orcas Island in Washington State. And so that's what we did. I'd never even heard of it. The San Juan Islands, I'd never heard of those. It was a gorgeous trip, a wonderful trip. We had a great time. People came from everywhere. Singapore, Thailand, all the parts of the U.S., Hawaii. They came from everywhere to be with this man because he's nothing but love. And he's loved us for 10 years. And so we showed up, and he wanted me to sing. And he hired a band. Well, here's something that most people don't know about bands. If you're not a musician, you're not in that world, you don't know that bands or musicians worry about other musicians showing up because they may suck. And it's your name, right? They've hired you. And most people don't really know when their friend or their daughter or their granddaughter can't sing. But they want her to sing. And no one's going to say, oh, the daughters suck. They're going to say the band sucked. So they never responded to any of the information, the stuff that I sent them a list of stuff that I could do. I sent them my keys. No response whatsoever. I said, that's okay. It's all right. I know what the problem is. It's okay. I'm going to love them first because I know what's going on. So the night of the party, I got there early, 4 o'clock, because I knew they were going to be setting up. And I got there early. They had barely spoke to me. They didn't want to. And I said, listen, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. These people, all they want to do is dance and party. Just keep the party going. It'll be all right. Now, what songs do you know? I'll just sing whatever songs you guys know. I just need to do a couple of songs because my friend wants to hear from me. So I'm going to sing Amazing Grace, and I'm going to sing it to the music of House of the Rising Sun. And they said, what? Sorry? I said, yeah, just play House of the Rising Sun in whatever key you play it in, and I'm going to do Amazing Grace. So just try it, see what happens. So they did, and I started singing. They're like, what? Oh my gosh! And from then on, everything was fine. Everything was fine. I knew what they were concerned with. I didn't have to worry. I knew who I was, and I knew who the group was that I was with, and I knew they were going to be kind and generous. And even if the band wasn't good, as long as they could play music and beat the drums, all the people wanted to do was dance. But actually, it turned out to be a very good band. It was very good. Before the whole night was over, we were hugging and acting like we were old friends. Okay? So what is my point again? Just be the love. Just be the love. I could have gone in there with my love, because that was another thing they were about. Was I going to show up as a diva? Oh, no. It's their friend. She's a friend of the guy that's paying us. She's probably a diva. She's going to want it. Right? I mean, they had all kinds of thoughts in their heads. I don't know that they did, but I know that they did because I've been around bands long enough to know. I did the same thing. I concerned myself with who's going to, But the point that I'm making from whatever stories I'm telling is that God is within, not just you, within everyone. And sometimes the human side is what shows up. You have to be the one to lead with love. We talked about it last week, or the last time I spoke, the 3 L's formula. Let love lead. Right? L, what is it? 3 times? Q. Thank you. Q, yes. L cubed. That is the love formula. Let love lead. That's all we got to do. Remember who we are. Remember who everyone else is. And you be the first to remind everybody, yourself included, that you are looking at love. And that you are, in fact, love. No matter what it seems like, the truth is, you are love, and so is everyone else. I want to leave you with the last quote. This is from, I can't really ever say his name, is it Thich Nhat Hanh? Thich Nhat Hanh. From his book, True Love, A Practice for Awakening the Heart. Unconditional love means not expecting anything in return, but cherishing the happiness of the people you love. Right? You just want to put people at ease and cherish their happiness, and therefore you will be loved as well. That's how it works. Fear shows up in so many ways, the heart pounding, the nerve-wracking, the doubt, all this kind of stuff. But that is fear showing up as a trickster. That's all it is. We are nothing but love. And if we remember that in everything we do, then love will be there. God will be there, and it will be the best time you have ever had, just by showing up as love and recognizing love when you see it. And so it is.